Okay, everybody, welcome back. For those of you that are just joining us the first time, you are here for the UBC Student Experience session. For those of you that were with us in the last hour, it's me, Michael, and Chris again.
We're back. We're not the students that are going to be giving this presentation. We have actual students, current students, that are going to be giving this presentation. But we wanted a nice little segue into those students. So we're going to get out of your way, and so you can hear from the actual students, because that's probably the people you're going to have questions about. The students that are going to be joining us today are Talia, who is a U.S. student who is currently attending here at the UBC Vancouver campus.
Great, and Abdul will be joining us as well from the Okanagan campus.
That's right.
And they'll give you a great introduction of what's been happening and tell you a little bit about what their experiences were at both campuses.
That's
so
right.
you get a bit of that perspective. So, without us talking anymore, we introduce you to our students.
All right, come on in, guys.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi everyone. I'm Talia.
I'm Abdul.
We're just going to give you guys a really brief introduction about who we are and kind of what we've studied, and then we'll take your questions at the end.
For sure. My name's Abdul. I came to UBC's Okanagan campus in 2009. I did a BA in political science, and I just graduated this past June. I had certainly different choices at UBC to attend either the Vancouver or the Okanagan campus, and what really drew me to the Okanagan campus is the fact that it was a small campus when I started, about 4,500 students, now about 9,000 students. I came from a small country, so I did enjoy the small campus feel. It was certainly easier to make friends and connect with professors, but that's certainly also true here on the Vancouver campus. Kelowna is about an hour flight away from Vancouver. You could also drive and take the Greyhound, and it's about an 8-hour drive. 4-hour drive, I've been corrected, sorry. It does take a little longer by bus though. As mentioned earlier, Kelowna is within the Okanagan Valley. Next is a screenshot of, that is Vancouver. Is that Kelowna? Is that? I've never seen that aerial shot. But yeah, so it is a city next to Lake Okanagan, and it's indeed a huge lake. As you can see, it spans from Vernon all the way to Penticton, which are two closer areas in the greater Okanagan area. The next shot you will see is our Okanagan campus. It is also next to a smaller lake, that's Roberts Lake. But you can see campus is quite close-knit. All the major academic buildings are close to each other. On the side you will see all the residence buildings. It's about under a 5-minute walk to any of your classes. Most first years will be living on campus if you apply by the deadline. I certainly lived on a first year residence, and I was a residence advisor in Lower Cascades, which is upper year residence in my second and third years. I also did live off campus, and campus is well connected to the Kelowna area through the bus system. So we have a huge bus loop system right on campus that connects you to either Vernon, to Penticton, but also certainly in Kelowna. And most students will live closer to about 20-minute to campus, or if you choose to live downtown is about a 25 to 30-minute bus ride. So it's pretty close.
Awesome. So I'll talk a little bit about my experience here at UBC Vancouver. I've actually never been to the Okanagan campus, although I'd love to visit because it looks beautiful. But I'm originally from Colorado Springs. So I am an international student, and for me, the idea of living kind of right next to a big city, you can see as beautiful as Vancouver is, this is a shot of the city. I was really excited to get a chance to live right next to that. So having like a big university and the big city environment was very, very exciting for me. I actually found that since I've been on campus, it's a much smaller community than I expected it would be. It was really easy to kind of find my niche on campus, and I made a really, really solid friend group within my first year, and they've kind of carried through my whole degree with me. I'm going into my third year right now. I'm doing a double major in English honors and German. Really, really enjoying myself. Just to give you guys a better idea of the campus, this is the actual campus. So you can see we're kind of on a little peninsula, and there's about 20 minutes probably to get to the actual city of Vancouver by bus, so you can see kind of the green space in the back before you actually connect to the city. So I think it's quite nice to have the campus a little bit away from the city, just because it gives you that separation. At the end of the day, if you want to go downtown and have a good time and relax, you don't feel like you're still like at school. At the same time, you're not distracted when you are at school studying by all the things going on. I did live on campus in my first year, and I really, really enjoyed that. It was a great way for me, especially as an international student, to make friends and really be keyed into all the different opportunities on campus. So that was an excellent experience. And then after my first year, I moved off campus because, again, I wanted to be connected a bit closer to the city. And I'm really enjoying that. I live in a neighborhood directly off campus, so it's about a 15-minute bus ride for me to get to school every day, which isn't bad at all. We have an excellent transit system here, so there's always lots going on campus. I've been involved in a variety of things here. I've done a lot of recruitment. I worked as a peer advisor in the Arts Academic Advising Office. I've been in lots of clubs. I'm in the UBC Ski and Board Club. We go to Whistler Blackcomb World Class Ski Resort pretty frequently, and I also brought my horse with me from Colorado. I'm a horseback rider, so she lives about 10 minutes down the road from campus, and I go ride on a daily basis. So whatever it is that you're interested in, I found that there's always a way to get involved at UBC Vancouver, so it's really wonderful to be a part of that academic and social environment as a whole. So just to remind you guys, we do have all of our contact info here. You can definitely get in touch with us on Facebook, on Twitter. Make sure you keep in touch. Feel free to ask as many questions, and we will be answering questions now. We'll also have advisors in touch with you with a recorded version of this presentation so that you can take another look at it later. So at this point, we'll start to answer some questions. I think we'll just go back and forth.
All right, so Andrea asked, what is the best part of UBC? For me personally, I would say the opportunities not just for the academic part of campus life, but also the ability to get involved in anything from clubs and course unions to employment on campus. So I also worked with recruitment on the Okanagan campus, but I also got involved through our students union. It's called the Ubc Students Union in Okanagan, and definitely here on the Vancouver campus, the Alma Mater Society. There are many clubs and course unions to get involved on campus. What I also enjoy about and think the best part of UBC is, and I think Tali will agree with me, is the fact that UBC Okanagan has two ski mountains within about a 40-minute to an hour drive from campus. So Big Wet and Silver Star are two major ski hills, but also Whistler Blackcomb here on the Vancouver campus. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess personally for me, the best part of UBC, I have to agree, is just the diversity of everything that's going on here. There's always something different happening, and so I found that when I'm out of classes and I have free time, I've never been bored. There's always something happening, and because it's such an international community as well, I really enjoy interacting with people from all over the world and getting those different perspectives. So that's kind of my favorite parts about UBC.
All right, so Matthias asked, what is it like to speak to profs and make friends? You might not know, but every professor on both campuses have to have office hours with their students. And the biggest complaint we have on campus from professors that during their office hours, students sometimes do not come and speak with them. My biggest advice to you as students, if you end up coming to UBC, is do take advantage of those office hours, because they're there for the students. And they're there twice a week, at least for the majority of my profs when I was on the Okanagan campus. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty easy to speak to profs. You just don't have to worry about them.
Yeah, I found that the profs here are very accessible. They're super, super friendly. I've not had a bad experience with a professor yet, and I'm going into my third year, so that's quite good. And as well, getting to know people is pretty simple too. Even being on UBC Vancouver campus, which is quite large, like I said before, I definitely have found my niche here, and just kind of being in a classroom environment, if you're in an intimate program, it's really easy to make friends. And even if you're in big classes, those big classes are actually split into smaller groups on a weekly basis. So those smaller groups really allow you to get to know people in your class, to talk to a teacher's assistant, make sure that all your questions are answered. So it's really a very tight-knit community, and I think it's easy to make friends as long as you're willing to put yourself out there.
And on that note, one student asked, what are the disadvantages of living on campus?
Not living on campus.
Not living on campus, living off campus. Definitely, there are some people might think the disadvantage would be that it's harder to make friends if you live off campus, but UBC has been a pioneer on both campuses through the collegiate programs on campus. So what are collegiate programs? They're spaces on campus to be home away from homes for commuter students who don't live on campus. Might be during their first year because they didn't get on residence, or they didn't win the lottery in their second, third, or fourth years to live on residence. So they're spaces for you to study, but also to take naps, to there are ovens, microwaves, fridges to put your lunches and dinners, to communicate. Each collegiate spaces on the Okanagan campuses has a collegiate assistant basically, and they're second, third, and fourth year students who run programs, but also ensure that the space is safe for students, commuter students who do want to have that opportunity to make friends and have that res-like experience, even though they don't live on campus. So definitely those disadvantages of living off campus is mitigated through the collegiate programs.
Yeah, and I can also tell you that I know for UBC Vancouver, I assume it's the same for the Okanagan campus, but I'm not sure. But for UBC Vancouver, in your first year, as long as you're coming directly out of grade 12 and you accept all of your offers before the deadlines and apply before all the deadlines, you are guaranteed a spot in first year housing. So that means that wherever you're coming from, whether you're an international or a domestic student, you do have a guaranteed spot here to live on campus in your first year. I really highly recommend taking advantage of that, because since it's easy for you to be here kind of for your first year, getting used to everything, getting acclimated to the academic and social environment, it really allows you to kind of be in the network a lot more when you're living here on campus in that first year. And then once you kind of have had that experience in first year, you've made a really solid friend group, you've gotten involved in the things that you're really passionate about, it's so much easier later in your degree to be living off campus, because you're already keyed into so many things that you'll find that it's just a lot easier to stay involved. Whereas, in your first year, if you're living off campus, because you don't really know, how to get involved in the first place, it could be a bit more difficult. So my biggest advice is take advantage of first year housing, come live on campus in your first year, really go all out and enjoy yourself. And then if you end up living off campus afterwards in your second year, like I have, it's still pretty easy to stay keyed into the things that are really important to you, and to maintain that sense of community. So there are certainly disadvantages to living off campus, but I think as long as you are kind of taking advantage of the things that UBC has to offer, you can certainly, like Abdul said, mitigate those disadvantages. So Z has asked, what is a first year dorm room like? You want to
Sure.
talk about Okanagan?
On the Okanagan campus, the majority of first year students will be living on traditional style buildings. So what I mean by when I say traditional style buildings is each floor of 40 rooms, you will be rooming with this person of the same gender but sharing a bathroom. So you will be sharing a bathroom, but just with one other person of the same gender. But the floor is mixed gendered, and it's about 40 students on each floor. And each floor and each dorm on campus will have two residence advisor, a male and a female residence advisor, who are upper year classmen who will help you build the community on campus, run programs, run events, make sure that your floor or the building that you live in have a strong community feel like. Majority of the rooms, actually no, let me correct myself, all rooms on the Okanagan campus are single rooms. So you do not need to, you don't have a roommate in the rooms that you live in on the Okanagan campus. So that's a huge advantage for for the Okanagan campus, just because some students don't feel comfortable living with a roommate. But even then, you still have kind of a roommate because you share the bathroom. I guess you can call them bathmates.
Yeah, it's a bit different at UBC Vancouver. We do have the largest on-campus community in Canada through UBC, so it's really nice living on campus. The first-year dorms here at UBC Vancouver are still quite nice, although we don't have all single rooms. So we have usually a 50-50 split between single and double rooms, and we do have a few new houses that have just been built in one of our first-year residences that are similar to Abdul mentioned, where we have the single rooms connected by one bathroom. But typically at UBC Vancouver, you're living on a floor. You can either choose to be in, an all-girls house, an all-boys house, a completely co-ed house where you are living with boys and girls and you have separate washrooms, or you can live in a house that is single gender by floor. So that means you have boys and girls living together, but there's a girls' floor and then a boys' floor, then a girls' floor and a boys' floor, and so on. So that's kind of how it's split up. You would never be living like actually with a boy, obviously, if you're a girl, and vice versa. And basically you can indicate your preference when you're applying for housing online if you would like a single or a double room. They obviously can't guarantee that you get what your preference is because, you know, if 70% of the students want single rooms, we just can't accommodate that. But typically the single and double rooms are quite nice. I mean, I really enjoyed living. I just had a single room in my first year with a shared bathroom for the whole floor. And I was on an all-girls floor, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was quite nice. All of the rooms have a bed with an adjustable frame, so you can put the bed up really high and then put storage space underneath, which is what I did, was really helpful. You also get a desk and a lamp, a desk chair. You have to bring your own bedding, but you get a closet and a dresser so that you have a lot of storage space, and it really is quite a nice setup. There's actually a virtual tour of the rooms online on our housing website, so if you go to housing.ubc.ca, you can see the rooms. It's a 360-degree virtual tour, and it's pretty accurate. It's very accurate, actually, as to what the rooms look like here at UBC Vancouver. So that's a great way to kind of take a look and see what you might think of that housing.
If you wanted to look at the virtual tours for the Okanagan campus as well, it's housing.ubc.ca/Okanagan. So as long as you put the /Okanagan in it, you can see the videos as well.
Perfect.
So Matan asked, how much time do you spend studying? It really depends. If you can find a good balance between academics and extracurricular activities, I know I spent at least 2 to 3 hours doing homework every day. So not quite a lot of time. I do take breaks, and I did enjoy getting involved, but it really depends on your program choice and what you think you can have a good balance between having fun but also studying. So it really depends.
Yeah, I found that, I mean, it is obviously you're at a prestigious institution here, and there is an expectation that you will be self-motivated outside of your classes and get the work done, do your studying. I personally have found, I mean, I'm in like English, so a lot of my work is reading and writing rather than strict sitting down, studying, memorizing things. I don't really do that very often. So for me, the coursework outside of my classes is not huge. I don't have a lot to do. I find that I have a lot of free time, which is really nice. But I think ultimately, like whatever program you go into, even if you do have a lot of time that you should be, you know, putting into study outside of your classes, as long as you're managing your time well, I think that's the most important thing. My approach to time management has always been, if there's something that I want to do, I'm going to make time for it. So if there's something, you know, if I want to go up to Whistler for the weekend and go skiing, then I'm going to make sure that I work really hard during the week, get everything done ahead of time so that I can go to Whistler and have a good time on the weekend and not worry about my coursework. So be on top of your classes, go to your classes. You actually do have to go attend your classes in order to succeed here. It's not like you can just not go to class and still manage. Go to your classes, be on top of your coursework, and don't procrastinate. Like the earlier you get your stuff done and the more consistently you're studying and keeping up to date with courses, the easier it is to really stay on top of everything and have time for lots of other fun stuff too. So Anika has asked what our class size is like. I know at UBC Vancouver the size of an average class is about 100 students. But it's really difficult to say that there's an average size because it depends entirely on what you're studying and how far along you are in your degree. So my classes, I'm in a very intimate program, English, Honors, and German. They're both very small. So I've had classes of about 15 to 20 students the whole time I've been here at UBC Vancouver, with the exception of a couple electives I took that were a bit larger. That said, you know, if you're taking big intro-level courses in your first year, like Intro to Economics or Intro to Chemistry and Biology, you might be in those big first-year courses, but by the time you get to third and fourth year and you really have narrowed down your interests and you've specialized more, those classes get a lot smaller. So it's difficult to say that there's an average class size, but for UBC Vancouver, it's usually about 100 students is average.
Yep. And definitely the average class size is smaller on the Okanagan campus. The intro classes to psychology, economics, the elective courses, of course, can go into the hundreds. The biggest lecture theater on the Okanagan campus can seat up to 200 students. And definitely intro to economics can be quite that big, in 50, 120, whatever number that is. But those classes are split up into smaller tutorial spaces, but also class discussions. So you can go down to 20 students. But on a personal note, the average class size on the Okanagan campus in your second, third, and fourth years can go down up to 20 to 30 students. so it's small.
All right. Connor has asked, do you take courses outside of your major?
Yes, especially in the BA program, you have an opportunity to take first and second year electives, but in your third and fourth year, should you choose not to minor in something, you can take up to 10 courses outside of your major. If you choose just to major, and let's say I majored in political science and minored in economics, all my courses, all the 10 courses that I could take as electives were in the economics because I was minoring in it. But certainly there's something called in the BA called the upper level elective credits, and you can take courses in whatever faculty you want, as long as it's capped to 10 courses.
Mm-hmm. At UBC Vancouver, I know, like for the Bachelor of Arts again here, you do have a lot of elective credits that you're allowed to take, and first and second year is really your time to explore, take lots of different electives, figure out exactly what you like, and make sure that in your third and fourth year, you're in a specialization that you really, really enjoy. But that said, there are different, like if you're going into a program that's maybe not arts, maybe something like engineering or science, they have very different elective requirements that I really can't speak to. So that's something that you definitely want to go onto the department or the faculty website. Just use Google. Google is really, really helpful. Google UBC, whatever program you're interested in, and it'll have a list for you of the elective requirements so you can get an idea of how many classes you would be taking outside of your specialization. So yeah, certain faculties will have like a larger elective requirement, something that's more interdisciplinary like arts, whereas something maybe like engineering that's a bit more specific and a more intensive program would maybe not have as many elective credits. So, but you just want to look up for your individual preference, whatever it is that you're interested in, and see what that elective requirement is like. And Connor, I'm not sure if it's the same Connor or a different Connor. Same Connor has asked, what are the first year residences at Vancouver? We have two different first year residences. One of them is called Totem Park, and the other is called Place Vanier. They're about a 10 or 15 minute walk from one another on the western side of campus, I want to say. They're both very, very nice. Place Vanier has actually just gotten a very recent facelift this summer. It's really pretty now. But basically everything is pretty similar in each of those residences. The housing setup is similar. The dining hall is similar. I lived in Totem Park in my first year, and I absolutely loved it. It was really, really fun. Totem Park is the one that's a bit farther away from like arts courses, so I had like a long trek to get to my classes, but I actually brought my bike on campus, and that took me like 5 minutes to get from like all the way one end of campus to the other. So yeah, those are the two residences, and they are both really nice. I really enjoyed living in Totem, and I still go to the Place Vanier dining hall every now and again to get food because they have really good food there. So yeah, those are the two residences.
All right, Z asked, do I need a car or a bike for transportation? Well, certainly on both campuses, I'm aware that every student on campus is eligible to be placed within the Universal Pass program, the UPass. Basically what that is, it's the UPass programs allows you to travel within the Greater Kelowna area I think it's $55 per semester, which is significantly cheaper if you had bought it separately if you were not a student. So getting around Kelowna using the transit system is pretty easy, and it's very accessible within different regions in the Okanagan. Certainly you can take a bus to Vernon, which is an hour's drive away. Why should you take a car if you can certainly take the bus there? And if you do choose to live an hour away from campus, but it's very accessible here on the Vancouver campus as well. Students have the UPass.
Yeah, we have the UPass here too. It costs about $35 a month here, which, just to give you an idea, the same pass for a member of the general public would be about $180 a month. So you get a huge discount as a student. And as well, that $35 per month fee is actually included in your student fees. So when you pay tuition for your classes, you automatically qualify for the UPass, which is really, really nice. And the UPass allows you to use all of the public transit within about a 3-hour radius of the campus for free. So all of the buses in the lower mainland here in British Columbia, as well as the SkyTrain, which is our subway system here, all of that public transit is available to you. So that makes it really easy to get around Vancouver, and we have a great transit system here in Vancouver as well as on campus. As far as getting around the actual campus itself, if you're going to be living on campus, I highly recommend for UBC Vancouver bringing a bike with you, or a skateboard, a longboard, whatever it is that you like to ride around on that doesn't have a motor. You can ride that across campus, and it makes it so much easier to get around, especially like if it's really rainy one day and you don't want to be out walking for a long time. You can just bike and be from point A to point B really fast. So I had my bike on campus, and I really enjoyed that. I also did bring a car to university with me because I have my horse, and it was a lot easier for me to get to see her on a daily basis with my car. So I brought my car with me, and I had that with me on campus my first year. I never used it to get from place to place on campus. I mainly just used it to see my horse off campus, or sometimes to like drive to Whistler. But you are certainly welcome to bring a car. You would apply for a parking pass at one of our lots when you apply for housing. And those parking passes, they do range from lot to lot. I believe mine was about $300 for the whole year, but that price may have changed. You can look on the housing website for more info there. But yeah, ultimately, getting around Vancouver is really easy with transit, and you're certainly welcome to bring a car, bring a bike, whatever it is, for getting around campus as a whole.
For sure.
All right, we have another question. Can you change your major? If so, when? Yes, you are definitely allowed to change your major. I am not sure of the specifics for each faculty. Again, like different faculties have totally different academic rules and regulations and requirements. I believe in the Faculty of Arts, you have to do like 50% of your degree in a major in order to graduate in it. So you can't be changing like every year maybe, but you can certainly change your major. When you come into the university, you don't actually have a major declared. You go into a certain faculty. You do some general studies, some core requirements in that faculty, and then you declare a major later. And then if you're in that major and you decide you don't like it, you can certainly drop it. You can change it. You can add a minor. You can do a double major. You can do a combined major. You can do interdisciplinary studies. There's a lot of different options for you to get involved in, and we have really solid academic advising offices here on campus, and those are faculty specific. So if you're in, applied science, you can go talk to someone in particular about those academic requirements, or if you're in science or arts or business, you have someone in particular to go to help you with finding the right major. So it's really, really convenient here. And you're also welcome to switch faculties. If you go into science in your first year and you don't like it, you can switch into arts in your second year. So again, all of the timeline of that is kind of dependent on the individual faculty. You'd want to talk to your academic advising office, but we ultimately want to make sure that you graduate with a degree in something you really like. So we do try to accommodate and make sure that students can change a major or an area of study if they want to.
A quick Google search when you're a student here with your faculty name and academic advising will give you the contact information. On the Okanagan campus, you certainly can make appointments every day of the week except for weekends, and Tuesdays are drop-ins. So they're very accessible, and I know I've changed my major in my third year. It wasn't hard. I just had to speak to an academic advisor to make sure that all my courses would be applicable with my second major. All right. So we have a question that says, did you take the LPI? Is it hard? I certainly did not, because the Okanagan campus doesn't require the LPI. However, Talia, do you know the answer?
I did not take the LPI either. If you're coming from a primarily English-speaking country, then you don't have to worry about taking the LPI. I have a lot of friends who have taken the LPI, and I'm not sure if it was hard. I mean, I can't really speak to that. I guess it depends on your individual level of English, if it's difficult or not. We do want to make sure that students here have a satisfactory level of English, so it's definitely something to be keeping in mind. But there's lots of resources on campus to help with studying and preparing for the LPI if you're coming on campus and haven't gotten through it yet. I know there's some conditional admissions and things like that. I don't want to get too into the details of that because I really don't know, but I would recommend contacting one of our advisors, like maybe one of the ones that you talked to, connecting with us online and asking about that in more detail would be a really great idea. Yeah.
So what's food like? On the Okanagan campus, every first-year student has to have the mandatory meal plan, just because every floor on our residence on the Okanagan campus has one common floor with basically one oven and one kitchen, and that's not certainly enough to be cooked for 40 students per floor. However, we have two major cafeterias, one in the University Center, which is a major hub for students. The Students Union is included in it, but also student services. And on the first floor is the major major cafeteria that caters to all dietary restrictions. I know over the past 2 years, the food services on campus has improved significantly to include halal, kosher, but also gluten-free and dairy-free restrictions. Certainly, you can look up UBC Okanagan Campus dish on Google, and all the information about food on campus on the UBC's Okanagan Campus is available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, UBC Vancouver has really good food. The first year, I mean, I'm sure you probably want to know about the first year food that you have to be eating. Like Abdul said as well, in UBC Vancouver, our first year students who choose to live in residence are required to purchase a meal plan to ensure that you actually get to eat, since you aren't able to cook in residence. The food at the dining halls in both Place Vanier and Totem Park is really, really great. It's a lot better than I anticipated for like university cafeteria food. So it's really, it's quite good, and they're really good about meeting any dietary restrictions. If you're vegetarian or vegan, if you have any food allergies, you can always communicate that, and they ensure that you don't just have one option of something to eat, you have a bunch of things to choose from. So the dining halls in first year residents are really quite nice. Like I said, I still go back to the dining hall in Place Vanier and eat food there because it was that good. And as well, there's plenty of other places on campus to eat food. We have, of course, Starbucks and Subway. We have White Spot and Triple O's, which are really common around Vancouver, and we have lots of other actual restaurants and different spaces in our student union building. Tons of different food outlets to eat on campus, and you can purchase food from those locations with your meal plan dollars as well. So you have lots of different options of things to eat. You don't just have to eat the food in the dining hall when you're at UBC Vancouver. And as well, Vancouver has some of the best food in the world. I am a huge foodie. I love to eat. And in my first year, I actually joined a club called the UBC Food Society. They go off campus and get really good student deals eating just amazing food. We did one event where we went downtown. We had 3 different full meals at 3 restaurants downtown, and the cost for each of us was $5, and it was amazing.
That's
so good. Great if you like to eat food, and that's a great way too if you're a first-year student and you're eating the food in the dining hall. It's great to join maybe a club like the Food Society or like the UBC Cooking Club, because that gives you a break from that, and you can go and explore Vancouver with some friends. So I think the food here is pretty spectacular. My hometown didn't have very much good food, and so I'm really happy living in a place with so much food from all around the world. Feel free to keep typing in questions. We're happy to continue to answer those. Questions about admissions and about academic requirements and things like that, you can definitely contact advisors. We actually don't have that information, and we wouldn't want to misadvise you in any way. So if you are curious about anything about admissions, just contact one of the advisors. They can help you out with that.
All right, so another question, I think Z asked, what kind of work can I have on campus during a little? There are so many work opportunities for students on campus through our Work Study Work Learn program. Specifically for international students who wish to come to UBC, the Work Learn program is subsidized by the university, but certainly employers across campus do have a work fair. Actually, I think yesterday and today was our on-campus work fair that was hosted here in the Welcome Center in the Concourse, and you can meet with different businesses on campus, different departments, and what I liked about having that experience on campus, and I did Work Learn for 3 years now, through different recruitment, but also through iHouse on the Okanagan campus. It's capped at 12 hours a week. So because the program recognizes that you are students and you need to focus academically on campus, but also would like to earn a little, that program works around your schedule. So employers have to look at your schedule and schedule in between 10 to 12 hours a week.
Yeah, working on campus is really great. I personally have had 2 different jobs that I've held here on campus. I mentioned earlier, I worked as a peer advisor in the Faculty of Arts Academic Advising Office, and I'm now a student ambassador, so I do student recruitment, and I give campus tours and things like that. And those have both been student positions I've gotten here on campus. They've been absolutely amazing. I've been very well supported. It's really fun working on campus, not to mention it's a great opportunity. It's something really good to have on a resume, graduate with all of that experience already. Here at UBC Vancouver, we do have an office called Career Services. It's dedicated specifically to helping our students find work on and off campus during and after their degrees. So if you need help finding a job, you can always go visit Career Services, and they're happy to help. They also do different workshops to help you build your resume, help you write cover letters. They do mock interviews, and they have a really extensive online network with all of the job postings for UBC Vancouver students. So you can log on to Career Services online and just scroll through jobs that are available there and then apply through that site. So it's all really, really conveniently done, and it's a really great opportunity to be a student worker. As well, we do have things like internship and co-op programs in most of our faculties. Co-op is a program that actually allows you to get paid work experience during your degree. So for this program, you would actually take a term or a year off of your studies and go work in like a defined position, either in Vancouver, British Columbia, or anywhere all over the world. You can apply for jobs all over the world. And that way you get that paid work experience that relates directly to your degree. And a lot of students participate in co-op as well because it's such a fantastic experience. So that'd be something to look into as well. Certainly if you're an international student here on campus and you want to be making some money, if you work on campus here as an international student, you don't have to worry about getting work permits or anything like that. So that's a great thing to keep in mind too.
Sure.
So Martine has asked, can we talk about clubs? Yes, we can. There are so many great clubs here. UBC Vancouver has about 360 clubs for students. Everything from academic and athletic clubs to extracurricular, just for fun clubs. Our biggest club here is the UBC Ski and Board Club because we do have Whistler Blackcomb so close to us, a world-class ski resort, but lots of students join that club just for the social events, even if they don't ski or snowboard. It's a great way to just make friends. But really, whatever it is that you're interested in, there's probably a club for you. I have joined the UBC Equestrian Team, which is a club on campus. Like I mentioned before, I was part of the UBC Food Society. We have a huge range of clubs. If you actually Google, again, I can't stress more the importance of Google. Just Google UBC Vancouver clubs, and you can find a list of all of them run by our alma mater society. So it's all really great.
For sure. On the Okanagan campus, the UBC Students Union Okanagan supports a variety of clubs and course union. Whether you want to that promote social, political, recreational, artistic, anything in between. We have just over 90 clubs, so not 300 clubs like the Vancouver campus, but just over 90 clubs on the Okanagan campus. And these clubs are supported financially, and anywhere from whether you need book rooms or to go off campus, the Students Union is there to help the clubs and course union with anything financial. But certainly, I know the biggest club on our campus is the Varsity Outdoors Club Okanagan, UBC VOCO. It's something that was mimicked from UBC Vancouver's Varsity Outdoors Club. And because both our campuses are situated within such pristine outdoor recreational space, I know the Varsity Outdoors Club Okanagan does every October an intro to rock climbing trip just about an hour's away in Penticton. But even in the winter, we do have trips like hot springs, snowboarding and skiing in different regions. So I know we do travel to Alberta and certainly do come here to Vancouver and Whistler because we don't have that opportunity to ski or snowboard every weekend. Fun fact, clubs and course union have discounted rates at the UBC Lodge on Whistler.
Yes, we, our alma mater society, our student government actually owns a lodge up in Whistler, so you can stay there for about $30 a night as long as you book in advance. So if you want to spend a whole weekend up there or a week up there when you have time off in February, you're welcome to do that. As well, as far as clubs go, we do have something called Clubs Days at the beginning of the year, where all of our clubs set up booths in the Student Union building, and they kind of rotate through all the different clubs we have. So I know having 360 clubs seems maybe intimidating or overwhelming, but they have it organized so that at the beginning of the year, you really get an introduction to each of those and can kind of weed through and find what you're actually interested in and sign up that way. So it's great.
And let's not forget about course unions. I mean, clubs and course unions go hand in hand. A lot of students like to get involved within their faculty-specific course union. So I know on the Okanagan campus, our biochem course union, our engineering course union are huge kind of clubs, but for courses, and you can connect. They do anything from programming outside of the academic space, but certainly do a lot of academic programming. Mm-hmm. So that's another way to get involved. Yeah. So Vincent asked, what is the weather like? Well, certainly on the Okanagan campus, it does get warm in the summer. It does get over 35 degrees, while say it's maxed out at 35 degrees in the summer, but does get cold in the winter as well. I would say on average, the weather does drop in the winter to about -10. But the beautiful thing about the Okanagan campus is because we are in a semi-desert-like experience in the interior of British Columbia, we do have all 4 seasons.
Yeah, the weather here at UBC Vancouver is really mild, actually. It's beautiful in the summer. I really recommend staying during the summer and doing summer classes or working because that's the best time to be here. During the winter, it doesn't really get that cold. It just kind of rains and sprinkles. It does get a bit gray and a bit dark during the winter, but I found that it wasn't really that big of an adjustment. My hometown in Colorado, we had 300 days of sunshine every year, and even still, I haven't really minded the rain here just because it doesn't like pour rain all the time. It just kind of sprinkles and like half can't decide if it actually wants to rain or not. So the weather's not too bad. As long as you have a good rain jacket and a good pair of rain boots, you're pretty set. And definitely I've found that the culture here is, you know, even if it's raining outside, we're still going to go do awesome things despite the rain. So yeah, that's a bit what the weather is like. We also had a follow-up question about co-op, which I had mentioned earlier. Someone asked, does co-op extend your degree? And the answer is yes. That program, because you're actually taking time off of your studies to go work in a specific field, it does extend your degree by a year usually. So you would graduate a bit later, but typically students do take a longer degree anyways. You actually pay for your courses by credit here, so you're not paying just like for a semester, so it wouldn't be the extra money. But yes, co-op does extend your degree. If you're doing like a student work position, like the work positions I've done, that's not part of co-op, and you're actually working and studying together, then that wouldn't extend your degree at all. So that's good.
And certainly, students on the Okanagan campus have an opportunity to do co-op, and the majority of students I know from my personal experience with friends have chosen to take a summer co-op term. So they just work for the 4 months that they're not taking courses in the summer, and certainly if you do plan to finish your degree in 4 years, there's opportunities for you to do summer co-ops.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have another question from Annika saying, do you think that UBC is good for arts?
Yes.
Yes, wholeheartedly yes. I think UBC is awesome for arts. Whether that's liberal arts, like something like I'm studying, you know, languages or economics, social, political science, that kind of stuff, or fine arts, where you're more interested in theater, production, performance, music. We have really, really strong arts degrees here. Obviously, we are one of the top 40 universities in the world. We consistently rank in the top 40, and we're very proud of that. And individual programs here at UBC rank even higher. This is my opportunity to shamelessly brag. My department, the Department of English Literature here, is number 10 in the world. So that is really cool. The point is, yes, arts is really spectacular here at UBC.
For sure. And certainly, even though the Okanagan campus is such a smaller campus, art students actually on the Okanagan campus belong to the Irving K. Barber School of Arts and Science. It's one faculty, and students have the opportunity to take both science and arts classes. And we mentioned earlier, we're both BA students. Our first 2 years as BA students is basically a chance for you to explore whatever you want to do. And certainly when you have such a broad choice of programs and courses to take in your first and second year, it is really a great program to be in.
Yeah, it's a really broad, it's a very flexible degree, so whatever it is that you're interested in, you can definitely make that work with arts, which is really nice. We have a question from Jessica. Do you apply for a major, and is it hard to get in? That depends on the major. Some majors do have applications. Honors programs do have applications, but not all of them are like that. Some of them you can just declare you have to have taken a certain number of credits, and by the time you've perhaps taken enough credits to get third-year standing, or in a few rare cases second-year standing, you can just add a major or a minor online. So some of them are quite simple. You just add it once you're old enough, basically, once you've taken enough credits. But the other ones, yes, you would have to apply, and that would all be individually through the department. Basically, you would just have to have the right courses taken. You'd have to have a good enough grade point average. I can't really, is it hard to apply? Usually not. My application for English Honors was not too intensive. But you do want to make sure that it's something that you stay on top of, that you get done on time, and definitely be communicating with professors, be communicating with faculty members, because they can certainly help you a lot with doing, letters of recommendation if you need that for an application. So basically the answer is it really depends on what major you're looking at.
And as long as within your first few years you recognize that maybe you want to get into, let's say I majored in political science, and I recognize that the faculty required a 75% average, and have taken Poly 101 and 220. As long as I have those requirements, you can easily major in that. As long as you know you have that prior knowledge of what you need to get into that major, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, so again, Googling whatever specific department it is, whatever major you're actually looking into, look that up online, and they will list all of the requirements. They'll either list what courses you have to take and how many credits you need just to add the major, or if there is actually an application, they would list that as well and let you know kind of what their requirements are there too.
You're welcome, Jessica.
Any tips for American students? I guess, I don't know, I mean, I didn't really think that it would be very different here, and I found that the academic and cultural environment is a lot more different than I anticipated, which is something that I actually really like, because I didn't want to stay in America. I wanted to be somewhere new. So I guess just keeping in mind that, like, even though it is Canada, like, it is still a very new place. I think as long as you come with a really open mind and come with that excitement, then you can have a really great experience. I definitely, this was actually the only school I applied to coming out of high school. I was 100% set on coming to UBC Vancouver. So it was definitely like a dream come true for me, and I was really excited about the transition. But even still, there are definitely times when you can feel homesick, even just coming from a place like America. So I guess keep in mind that it is still an adjustment, and be prepared. Like, if you're feeling like you need help with something, ask for help. I guess that's a general tip for everyone. UBC is such a supportive network. Like, the staff and the faculty here is all here to support you, so never feel afraid to ask for help. The other thing that I really highly recommend for American students, I think a lot of times American students don't want to take part in programs to help you get used to Canada because it just doesn't seem like it'd be very different, but we have a program called Jumpstart for all of our incoming first-year international and Aboriginal students. Jumpstart is actually a program that runs 2 weeks prior to the start of your classes in September. So for those 2 weeks, you're actually living on campus with other international students from all over the world. You're led around by students. There's a lot of different eventing that goes on. You get to meet people in your faculty, meet professors. You find out where all of your classes are going to be, make some friends, and basically you can just get used to everything here before you have to start dealing with classes and coursework and getting used to it that way. I didn't participate in Jumpstart in my first year because I didn't think it would be something that I needed, and I really regret that because when I came on campus, all of the students from Jumpstart were already such good friends, and they had just like such an easy transition. So even though my transition didn't end up being very difficult, I think going and participating in Jumpstart would have been even more helpful for me. So definitely be looking into Jumpstart. Make sure you register for that program, even as an American student. It's a great first 2-week introduction to UBC, and then throughout your entire first year, they offer ongoing support. So it's a spectacular program. I really highly recommend for American and other international and Aboriginal students to attend.
For sure, and even the Okanagan Campus have the Jumpstart program.
Yeah.
Again, UBC is one great university, 2 great campuses. So if you have any questions about Jumpstart and you think you're coming to UBC, I'll look up Jumpstart in the Okanagan as well. It's a 10-day program, and you can do, as Talia mentioned, you meet with your professors, you do some workshops, they take you and we do your banking, we buy your telephone, we set you up with anything and everything that you need to prior to starting classes here. So it's a great program. So we're ready to wrap up this portion of the presentation. Again, you can look at the slide and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, watch some videos on YouTube. But what we want to leave you with is, if you go to the youbc.ca website, every information that you need to know about admissions to campus life is available on the u.ubc.ca website. So
yeah. Thank you guys all very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
It's really, really fun getting to do these events and getting to hear from you and talk to you guys about our awesome lives here at UBC. So thanks all so much for coming, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to us talk at you for the past 50 minutes, and we'll hope to see you on campus.
All right.
Thanks so much. Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.